Of you have asked me about layout grids, so I thought I'd just jump on quickly and show you a quick couple of examples of how you can use a layout grid. You can see here I've got two canvases set up. I've got my iPhone 375 pixel width screen and just a standard sort of 1280 width for a MacBook Air. Okay, so if we click on our canvas, on the right hand side in this panel, we can see that we've got this option called layout grid. I'm going to select it. Now, by default, what Figma does is Figma sets it up as a grid. It's 10 little 10 pixel squares. You can set that to rows or to columns. I'm going to set that to columns. And you can see here now I've got my 5 columns. And when I click on here, layout grid settings, now I can do things like change the number of columns. So I prefer to work in, good practice, work in even numbers. So I might go 6. You can do things like change your color, change the opacity or the percentage of see-through, so that as you start to design your work, it makes it a bit easier to see. You've got this option here, gutter. So what gutter does is it actually increases or decreases the distance between each one of my columns. And the reason why it's doing that is because I've got it set to stretch. So you can do things like center it. You can do things like right align, left align, but I like leaving mine to stretch. And I typically like leaving it on 6 columns. And you can do the same with your desktop view. So we can click layout grid, change this from a grid to column, and we would change this, you might want to set that to 12 or maybe 16 as an example. And what it does is it just really helps you with responsive design. So now as I start to design my components on my screens, you can work towards your particular layers. So I prefer to design using auto layout. So the more you use auto layout, I actually think the less you need to use layout grids. But if you find it useful, I'd suggest giving it a try. And to turn on and off, you just simply use the little eye over here, show hide. So same thing goes here. So, if you're just starting out, it's probably good practice to get into, set it, particularly while you're working through building out your design systems, set out a layout grid on your canvas and have a play around, see how you go. And I hope you guys find that useful.